Here's how I tripled a client's course business in just 42 days. And if you stay till the end, the last one is one I actually did in about 5 minutes, but it grew this client's business by over $5,000 per month in just 5 minutes of work. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Matthews. And before you get all worked up, no, I'm not a coach teaching coaches, some more coaches teaching coaches how to be coaches. I actually have a business called Consulting Label, which is where I partner with experts that can provide real value to the world, and I implement this marketing for them, grow their business, and then I get paid off of that. So how did I do this? Well, number one, the design of the funnel. So if you don't know what a funnel is, it's a process, you can imagine like this, where you're bringing these people and these potential customers and you're turning them into customers, right? And then sometimes there's more upsells or some downsells, a lot of technical marketing terms there. But the design of the funnel. So when this client came to me, they weren't converting very many of their website visitors into sales. And I looked at it and I said, okay, well, number one, your funnel is not intuitive. It's not easy to get from point A to point B. There's extra steps that don't need to be there. There's a whole lot of things that we just don't need. And really, we want people to get from point A, hearing about you, to point B, being a customer in as quick of a time frame as possible. So we removed some of these steps that just did not help move the needle forward to making these people customers. And then secondly, we don't want people to get lost in the process, right? We want it to be simple and intuitive that brings them from one step to the next. If people are falling off, that means typically that your design is not intuitive enough. As well as we design the funnel on one note to be brandable, right? To look good, to feel good, to kind of portray a certain feeling to the people, and that's very important. But on the other note, we designed it in a way that the copy and the elements of the funnel follow a certain belief pattern that brings people down a certain train of thought, right? Because if they come here and they don't know about what you solve, why you solve it, what the problem is, and we need to get them to here where they believe that they have a problem, they believe it can be solved through what you do, there's different belief patterns that have to take place in order to get there. A great book on this is Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. He talks about what these belief patterns are and how to incorporate them into your sales videos, your sales copy, and just overall increase your conversion. So that was number one, design of the funnel. Number two is the copy of the page, actual words on the page that are designed and written to sell the product. So how do we do this? Well, number one, I bucketed this client's audience into multiple categories, right? If we had 100 people and say he was converting 3 of them into sales, I bucketed them all into categories and said, okay, who's the 3 that's buying, right? Is it a mix of a few buckets? Is it just one bucket? And then who are these other 97 people that are coming but are not buying? And why are they not buying? So if we put customer awareness on a sliding graph, you'd have anywhere from completely unaware to completely aware of both your product and your company and what you solve, right? And in between there, there's like problem awareness and there's solution awareness and there's product awareness and there's company awareness, right? So there's a sliding graph. And what I realized was a lot of the people that he was selling to were these more experienced people in his market, right? Because he was using what we like to call a Techno Babble that his audience did not understand, right? If they were a novice or an intermediate inside the market, they didn't understand it, right? So what we did is we added these extra elements to the page, to the copy of the page, the words that explained things and took people down the path. Because ultimately, if these people at the end of the funnel did not believe they had a problem and did not believe that he could solve it, they would never buy, and that's what was happening. So when we understood one of the big reasons why they don't believe they have a problem and they don't believe we could solve it is because they don't understand what we do. So we explained things further. We told stories to give them the aha moments that they needed to have in order to get to the point where they knew they had a problem and we could solve it. So that's number one on the copy. Secondly is we designed the copy in a way that triggered all 3 different types of buyers, okay? There's 3 different types of buyers. There's emotional buyers, there's logical buyers, and there's scarcity and urgency-driven buyers. All of us, to some extent or the other, are kind of driven by all 3, but certain people are pushed more over by one of these 3. So an emotional would be like you're getting sold a weight loss offer and you feel very bad about the fact that you're overweight and it's just, you feel it in your gut, you're going to bed at night and you hate it, right? So talking about those things would push you over the edge if you're an emotional buyer. A logical buyer might be talking about like, hey, this takes less time. These people have done it before, and you're looking at these logical reasons to push you over the edge. And then the third is urgency and scarcity driven. And this one can be a little bit harder to do in an ethical way because we don't believe in false scarcity like, hey, there's only 5 spots left, you got to buy right now. Like, we don't do any of that stuff. But there are people who need that extra push, right? So we'd put things into the sales copy like, hey, don't wait for this thing to happen in order for you to take action. Take action now before this bad thing happens, right? Like, you get to the point, say, if you're selling a weight loss offer, that's not what this is, but if that's what it was, like, before you show up at the doctor's office, you get diagnosed with diabetes, you might as well take action now and solve the problem before it's too late, right? So that'd be an example of using urgency and scarcity. The next thing is kind of what I already hit on, but the whole point of the copy is to knock over what we call the big domino, right? And you can think about this for your offer. There's a big belief that if your customer believed it, they would buy your program, they'd buy your course, right? This comes from Russell Brunson. So what is the big domino, right? If it's a weight loss offer, they believe they need to lose weight and they believe that you're the best path to do that. If they believe that, they will buy. If they don't, they won't buy. So what is that big domino? And then make the whole goal of the copy in order to get them to believe that big domino. So number 3, this is a thing that took about 5 minutes to do, but resulted in around $5,000 in added revenue per month for this client. So what is this? Well, we were having all of the sales page and the different funnel pages on Clickfunnels. But then right when they were ready to check out, we sent them to Teachable, a Teachable cart, simply because it was easier and it was just easier. And at first we had tested everything on Clickfunnels. We switched it back over to Teachable and the conversion rate dropped a good amount. And I was sure this was the thing that caused it, so I switched it back to Clickfunnels. The carts almost looked pretty similar. There was just a small few things really, that were different from Teachable to Clickfunnels. But we moved that order form, that cart page, back to Clickfunnels, and immediately the sales went back up. And this results in over $5,000 in revenue. And the reason for this is pretty simple. There are multiple things that we can put on the page on Clickfunnels that we know from experience help push people over that we could not add to Teachable, as well as we can manipulate the design of the cart on Clickfunnels that we could not do on Teachable, resulting in us having a more optimized cart on Clickfunnels. So just this small thing pushed these people over the edge and helped us help more people by getting more customers and bringing them through the process. So these 3 things help this client triple their course business in just 42 days. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch another one, here's another one that YouTube thinks you'll like as well. And if you don't mind, subscribe. I make content pretty much every single week, all on the topic of online courses, things like funnels, ads, and this is all from experience of not only growing my own business to multi-7 figures, again, not teaching coaches how to be coaches to more coaches, but by growing online courses myself, but also working with tons of clients, growing their businesses as well. So if you want content about that, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.